So guys, welcome to the first vlog. This is my first Repticon since the pandemic, which sucks. Repticon usually comes here 3 times a year, but only once this year, which I think is a bummer. So let's go see what awesome animals we can find here at Repticon. I'm gonna start off, the first thing I want to, just the animal I want to show you guys is this beautiful crested gecko. This is a, what genes?
This is a harlequin.
A harlequin?
Striped harlequin, yep.
Striped harlequin. This is a polygenic trait, meaning it's after years and years of breeding specific colors and lines. This is what you get a harlequin. You get a bunch of polygenic traits in crested geckos. Crested geckos are really good for beginners because they're small, they're jumpy, but they tame down really well. Yep. But these are, you don't want to keep them in something like a leopard gecko rack. You want to have something a little bit higher, a little bit more humidity, and also you want to have a place for them to climb. Of course, you want to include a bunch of inserts that will give them enrichment. But this is probably the coolest crested gecko I've seen in a while. Start off with a few betas now. These are betas. These are fighting fish. Believe it or not, in Thailand, we use these to fight. They would combat against each other in a brawl, but the loser would go down. That's now illegal here in the U.S. Believe it or not. I don't know. It's kind of like Muay Thai. I wonder if, let me guys know if you think it's hypocritical of me to be against human fighting, but I'm a big MMA fan, or boxing fan. Let me know if you think that's hypocritical of me to say don't like human fight. I don't like animal fighting, but I like MMA. This is a egg eater. These are prominent in Africa. This is an option for those who say you want a snake, but you don't want rodents. These guys eat eggs. A ward of rare eggs, just gotta make sure you find an appropriate size. This looks like an arambic egg eater, which is from where I'm from, South Africa. Believe it or not, my friend Arno in South Africa had an albino egg eater, believe it or not. Unfortunately, it bred only once, and then unfortunately it perished, which sucks, because it looked incredible, because I would have loved to have that in my collection. And I'm sure it will probably be here in the US by now, but for those of you guys want a snake, you don't want rodents, this is one of 2 options that I'd recommend. The first ball python, of course I can't come to a reptile expo without highlighting a ball python. This is a cypress pastel pinstripe. The cypress is a co-dominant trait. When you get a super cypress, it's more of less pattern. But then you got the pastel, which is another co-dominant. Greg Graziani from the hit show Python Hunters was the first who proved out the pastel gene, which is when you get a super pastel, it's a little bit brighter. Oop, look at that little monkey trying to go in there. I think it's kind of funny. This is an option. These are great beginner snakes. But meet Sheila. She's a beautiful Argentine black and white tegu.
Super blue.
Super blue. This is a kind of a hybrid, I think. These are awesome. These guys are great pets for beginners. Oh, not necessarily for beginners. I want you to have a little bit of experience. But these guys, believe it or not, are invasive in Florida, and now we need your help. Make sure you subscribe to US Ark. Join US Ark Florida down below, because we're going to fight this ban to allow people, because they're now illegal in many states, which I think sucks. So we're gonna fight this ban, and we're gonna make sure people can keep these amazing animals. Rather regulate, I think we should regulate the way people keep them instead of outlawing. To say
I do as well.
Instead of we can keep a track of it, and then rather use the proceeds to help eradicate them.
I'll know what it is.
These guys.
All right, I'll see if you know what it is.
We do need your help here in US Ark Florida, so make sure a link in the description. Go join. That cute little monkey though. This is an Asian forest scorpion. You guys know I am not a big fan of scorpions. Here it goes. Look at this. This is the first time I've ever held a scorpion, and I'm scared out of my mind.
How beautiful he is, though.
He is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But these guys, okay.
They're not liable to sting you. They have these great big claws, which means that they're way more liable to bite you.
Yeah.
They also have little retractable, if you can see their feet, they have little retractable claws.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at that, guys. You guys know I'm not a big fan, but this is a great beginner scorpion. They're not highly venomous, so I think she's braver than me and not like me. So I think this is pretty cool, but hopefully this is not the last time I ever held a scorpion.
Hair, and it was born at my house.
Yeah, look how gorgeous he is. These are from
let's have your hand here.
Look at how beautiful he is. This is only the 2nd time I've ever held a spider. I held my first tarantula spider when I was in South Africa. So these guys are from Nicaragua. These don't get that big, so these are a great option if you guys want to. Oh, they get pretty big. So these are also great beginner spider, so you're not that venomous. So believe it or not, spider venom actually is used in medical research. Believe it or not, so does scorpion venom. So right now they're exploring different kinds of medical research, including Alzheimer's and various other stuff, but I think this is kind of cool though. A lot cooler than that scorpion, so I think.
Well, they're getting bit by one of these babies. I have been bit by one. It's kind of like being stung by a honeybee.
Okay.
It's no big deal. And the one I got bit by, one of my customers was poking it in the butt, and when I went to contain it to put it back, it was very upset, and it bit me like right there on my finger. But it, like I said, it was like being stung by a bee. It itched.
Okay. This is a Sunbeam Snake. These guys are from Southeast Asia. Believe it or not, kraits, the most venomous snake in Asia, would eat a Sunbeam Snake. Oftentimes prey on it, grab them behind the head, inject the venom. These guys often get mistaken for kraits. But believe it or not, which is why people oftentimes kill them. But these guys, let's give it a little bit of a must go. Believe it or not, there's an albino Sunbeam in Asia somewhere. I saw a picture of it and I fell in love, and I want one so badly. But I want you to, before you buy a Sunbeam Snake, I want you to have a little bit of experience with other snakes. This is a great option. Look at the iridescence on this monkey here. These are awesome snakes there. I'm going to start off with another ball python. This is a black pastel mystic potion that's possibly het red axanthic. Het red axanthic is a co-dominant trait. When you breed it to, you've got the red axanthic, which is kind of like the axanthic but a little bit redder. It's a lot more beautiful. The black pastel is a co-dominant trait. When you breed them together, you get a solid black animal. But unfortunately, a lot of times super black pastels die within a year, or maybe even sooner. They have kinks, which sucks. But now the mystic potion is a allelic snake. It's a
Mystic and Mojave.
Mystic and Mojave. This is both co-dominant. Oftentimes when you breed a double co-dominant snake like a bumblebee, bred it to a normal, you get 25% normals, 25% pastels, 25% spiders, and 25% bumblebees. When you breed a mystic potion to a normal, you get 50% mystic and 50% Mojaves, which is kind of cool. Look at how beautiful the snake is, I'll tell you. You add fire, pastel lesser, this thing will pop even more. This is a pastel Mojave. It's a pastel calico. This happens to be a pastel calico ball python. You guys know I love the genes, two genes. I think my favorite ball python genes would be pastel because of how it really brightens snakes up.
Hard as shit.
Of course, I love hides. Those are relatively different than any animal, but the calico was produced by Kevin McCurley over at Nerd. It's like a white snake, a little bit of white side here. You can see the white here. You add spider to this, and add fire or lesser. This snake is going to pop even more. So the calico, I think, is a good gene, but alone it's not so much nice. But I like when you add stuff like fire and yellow belly to really make it pop. This is one beautiful ball python. Starting off with a few dart frogs. Believe it or not, these are guys in the Amazon where these guys were found. The tribesmen would use their poison. Yes, these are poisonous because they eat cockroaches that eat poisonous plants, which makes them poisonous. They would use that poison as a blow dart to wound animals. Now in captivity, these aren't poisonous, believe it or not. So, but actually, we could be poisonous to them. If we touch them, they could die easily. So these guys are great animals, but they're not for beginners. I want you to they should be for advanced keepers only. So these guys come in all sorts of colors, which I think is beautiful. But the colors are to warn predators that, hey, I'm poisonous. I've seen pictures of snakes trying to eat these and then they end up dying because of, you guys are awesome.
Hi.
This happens to be a hypoberm, which I think is kind of cool. You guys know my friend DJ in South Africa has a bunch of hypos. These guys are, this is the only, boas and berms, the hypo gene is co-dominant, which I think is interesting. Often, but when you bring a hypo boa to a hypo boa, you get
about $10 an hour if you need my help.
You get a hypo to a hypo boa is usually a patternless boa, but when you breed a hypo berm to a hypo berm, you get the leucistic berm, or the ivory, which is, I think the ivory gene is probably the most coolest of all the things. So, oftentimes with hypo berms, if they're het for patternless,
Hold this side, because the way he has my hand is not working out.
if you get, oftentimes hypo berms that are het for green have a little bit of pattern, or het for albino even. These guys. These snakes called berms are not for everybody. Berms are not for everybody. They're for advanced keepers only. Also, make sure you join US ARC because we're fighting the ban in Florida. We're fighting this ban because sooner, even if you say, oh, I live in Maryland, that Florida ban's not going to affect me. It's gonna come, it's gonna spread. People are trying to outlaw these amazing animals. We've got to do our good job of educating because berms are they're not for everybody though, but they're great snakes though. It's a beautiful monkey. Oh my eye, this is, people look at the size of this bull snake. These guys usually don't get this big, but I just had to show you how big she is. Bull snakes are for beginners. Great snakes, beautiful. A little hissy, but if you had to them, they came down really big. Albinos are recessive trait. These guys are amazing snakes. What more?
This, what more?
Out blue-tongued skink. Have a look at how beautiful he is. Now, blue-tongued skinks feel a little bit rubbery. Have a look at the pattern. This is a northern. You get two kinds: the eastern, the northern, that are mostly represent that are cheapest here in the U.S. Of course, you got the westerns, Chelonians, blotched, which are expensive as heck. But believe it or not, in Australia they have albino northerns, and Australia doesn't export, which I think sucks. And I think if they allow exports, we can enjoy not only these other mutations, but it'll be a benefit economically for them. But these guys are great beginners. You can keep them in. Oftentimes people say don't feed them dog food. Some people say don't feed cat food, but I have no preference. I think they do well on both. But these guys love to eat. These guys are much like a puppy, believe it or not. So these are great beginner lizards. Make sure, if you ever look at blue-tongued snake, make sure you buy one that's captive bred. This is a scaleless mask cat snow corn snake. Mask is a dominant trait. But so scaleless is recessive. Yeah. Scaleless is a straight recessive, so this is a recessive killing two other recessive traits. People buy scaleless snakes. Whenever people see scaleless, they want to bash it. As you can see, this little monkey is doing so well. He's beautiful. You don't need to. Scaleless snakes do just as well as normal snakes. I mean, I can tell you something. I was usually against two-headed snakes that I see sometimes they do well, but just like a scaleless snake, they do well. They are insanely gorgeous snakes. I want a scaleless corn snake soon, and I hope you get a scaleless ball python one day. And of course, a scaleless berm. Yet. This is a marvel ball python. I've never heard of this gene. This is a co-dominant trait, meaning when you breed a marvel to a marvel, you get a super marvel, which is like a redder animal. Unfortunately, the guy doesn't have any. This is when you add enchi, another co-dominant trait, which is like when you breed a super enchi, it's a reduced pattern. Like the enchi gene was produced in Sweden. I don't know who produced the marvel, but a marvel is a great snake here. Have a look at these. We got marvel.
One with yellow belly.
This is a marvel yellow belly and a marvel cypress. These are just so bright. These are great snakes. Well, I think this is a new gene I think I'm going to start falling in love with. I think I'm going to try to get...
That thing's nice, isn't it?
This is a beauty. Few beautiful monkeys here. What does Brian say? Ooh, doggy. This is an elephant trunk snake. These guys are fully aquatic. These guys are like file snakes. They're non-venomous. These guys I think are found in Australia. They're kind of like, the skin kind of feels like file, like a saw file that you use to cut stuff. These guys eat fish primarily. This is another option if you guys, well, these aren't for beginners, but if you want a snake but you just don't want to feed rodents and you have the experience, an elephant trunk snake might be for you. But these guys are cool. This is a weird snake here. This is a super black pastel banana, possibly, but it's definitely yellow belly, but it's possibly ivory. The super black pastel gene is what's linked to the solid black snake. Oftentimes, but on a sad note, sometimes super black pastels and super cinnamons are born with a kink, which oftentimes leads to disaster. Oftentimes the animal dies, but once they've hit over a year, they are bulletproof. Look at how beautiful this pattern is, the spots here. So the pastel is another co-dominant trait that Greg Graziani, I told you, from Python Hunters produced. Super, and then a banana. And the story about the banana is that Will Slough thought it was, when it first came out, they thought it was a caramel. But unfortunately, and Will Slough took a chance, but then he ended up proving it to be a co-dominant mutation. Now Kevin over at Nerd has produced coral glows which are similar, but a different bloodline. But this is one beautiful ball python. I think they're calling it a McFlurry. These are beautiful monkey though. This is a Euromastic. This is Saharan Euromastic. So you get different kinds of Euromastics, believe it or not. You got the Sahara, Egyptian, and a bunch of others. Not going to go on.
We have 4 species of Euros. And we got Ocelota, we have Dispar, and we have the Moroccan.
Oh, wow. And you also got don't forget you also got the Ornate, which is kind of cool. The Euromastics are great if you guys want a lizard. But you know, a lot of times people just don't want to feed crickets. They don't want to catch crickets. But these guys are entirely herbivores. You don't need to feed them. Like, you don't have to go to the pet store and buy a bunch of crickets or worms. You don't have to dust them. You do have to dust the vegetables, right? And then these are such beautiful animals. Open it up and look. This is nothing. I'm good. Don't worry. This is a night lizard. Believe it or not, this is one of many parthenogenesis lizards that these are all female. Believe it or not, night lizards. They give birth. They give birth without a mating. I think it's kind of cool. These guys are from southeast part of the U.S. Even into Mexico, believe it or not. Now these guys are for advanced keepers only because they need a lot of humidity, kind of like an Abronia, but even though sometimes these guys can give a pretty nasty bite. But these guys are so cool. Parthenogenesis, as I said, there's no male, all female species. That's one of that and a mourning gecko, the only reptiles that I know of that breed parthenogenesisly. So I think that's the first time I've ever seen him, and I am just blown away. This is an emoji ball python. Have a look at this. Is Orange Dream and emoji. Orange Dream is a co-dominant trait. When you breed it to a normal, you get super Orange Dream, but when you breed an Orange Dream to an Orange Dream, you get a super Orange Dream. And have a look at the smiley face there. That's what set this monkey apart. I love eyeball ball python. This is a lavender super dwarf reticulated python. That's het for Annery. She's a beautiful monkey. Let's say you guys want to reticulate a retic, because you know retics aren't for everybody. They get mainlands get 18 plus, but now this is a great option. These aren't for beginners. I want you to have a little bit of experience. Look how big. For retic, she's quite small. But let's say a little bit. The lavender gene is a recessive trait. Now I've told the story a million times, and I was in South Africa too. The first albino retic ever had a broken back, and Bob Clark bred that male. I think into these smaller monkeys here, which make them a little bit better if you don't want something that gets 18 plus foot. So this is a beautiful snake here. Thanks for watching. Let me know what the animal you thought was cool. Have an amazing night. God bless. You guys know I'm looking for help. If you guys know anybody who can help me find a job or some investors in the rest of my business. Thank you. Have an amazing day. God bless.